But our next one is going to be on Lavanos, which is relatively similar map. I think with even more metal. And again, my recommendation, the way that I like to go with this one is I feel that Docks is still the strongest here. You can swarm with Docks really hard. People who try to tank against me on this it doesn't work. You're just everywhere with Docks. But you have to go in hard and fast because you've got to build up that massive Docks and just overwhelm them completely and get them to just defend everywhere. And if you let them build up the tanks like Techno Trousers were able to there, then again tanks are going to beat Docks because they just got great critical mass. But yeah, I'd like to see some stronger Docks play. I'd like to see it with Docks, not with Grenadiers.
Well, yes, that's how the theory works, anyway. As we saw last game, when you get into the heat of the moment, theory can go out the window.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the style of play of a team, I think, and what your opponents are doing as well. But again, with the air that they had out there, again, Docks I think would have done better because they could still move fast. If you've not got enough bombers, then you can shoot down that air. You just you area patrol your Docks. Suddenly they spread out. The bombers aren't killing them, and you can then just carry on with your raiding. There's a lot you can do with Docks. They really are good on some of these larger open maps. And I think as we'll see, as we switch across to this, our second game in best of 3 in the semi-finals of Binary Stars, you'll see here that the map is very spread out with metal. This is really Docks territory right here.
This is in the last game, as I said to you before we started, because they were clumped up, defensive positions become much more viable. Turrets become a thing which you start to consider. And as a result, I think that made the tank play that much stronger a proposition because you have to try and break through those defensive lines. But no, here you've got single mech points here, there, and everywhere. And what you really want to be doing is getting a blob of Docks and just sort of sending them scattered to the 4 winds and take out whatever you find wherever you find it.
Well, let's see what they go for. I'm anticipating a lot of Docks, but it might be that Techno Trousers, yeah, they're going for 1 bot, 1 vehicle, as they did last time, and we're seeing all bots and some air queued up again. So very similar opening to last time. I think this map is going to favour bots far more. I mean, look how spread out this is, and there's so many more routes to the base now.
I would be very surprised if either team has not gone bot first on this. And of course, to prove it's wrong, Techno Trousers has done it again.
Yep, they've got all the teams using the same openings as last time, and we see that Techno Trousers again going for the heavy vehicles. The bot player transitioning straight into vehicles.
I don't think they're going to get away with it on this map.
I think that the bots, if depends though, it's possible that we might see Ponage again transition to Grenadiers. They might see this terrain and think Grenadiers, they'll work here, and I don't think that's a good idea.
Why would you think that on this map?
I'm seeing a vehicle factor on this map already, but I like the opening again. Ponage, I think it's good. They've gone Docks, they've gone air. This is all the stuff that they need. Don't like that combat fabber. Don't like that. There's combat fabbers for reclaiming, not combat fabbers for whatever it is they're going to hit. Even mines aren't going to work that well here. There's so many routes.
This is just a very open plan. Very it's going to be lots and lots rather than the big confrontations that you see on maps with things like choke points on them. This is going to be very small confrontations and lots of them. There's going to be explosions all around the map all the time. And none of them are going to be that significant on their own, but it's going to be the cumulative effect of won or lost confrontations on a small scale that's going to win the game here.
We see there's already mining off this area for Techno Trousers. They're locking down that point. Not quite sure. I'm not sure why they've chosen that point in particular, but that's where they decided to build some mines. And Ponage are building a wall of line of mines all the way around their base here. So I'm really not sure what these why these teams have chosen to invest resources in defensive play so early on
this map as well.
Yeah,
this is not a defensive map.
Yeah, they should be putting that into far more aggressive plays, I think. But if both teams are doing it, it's going to even out nicely. But really, they need to get out there, put that into Docks, and just be poking around the edge of the base, nibbling at all those metal spots, because those metal spots are so spread out, the commanders can't defend them properly. You can put your Docks in play, but Techno Trousers are the only team making for a play for any of the centre mechs right now, and that could be a significant factor because there's a lot of metal on the equator. There's two really significant points of metal, one of which is already under Techno Trousers' control. Ponies, though, starting to build up a force, get ready to come in and claim it. Technotrousers are going to have to get more bots in there quickly to hold it. And they're rolling tanks into the other one, and Ponage not making any place for those areas at all. So while the economies are even right now, I expect to see that situation change.
When it comes to claiming mechs, neutral mechs in the sort of centre ground, there are two ways to do it. You either do it first or you do it better. And I'm hoping to see from our blue team that they will gather up a small force and come in there and push Orange off in a short order, but I'm not quite sure they've got enough forces to do that, and Orange are constantly reinforcing that position. They've wisely kept a couple of hummingbirds nearby as well to give you that vision radius as well, and it also protects from any scouts, air scouts coming in from the blue team.
Well, I think it's primarily to stop a bombers coming in there, but we see Ponage now pushing their commander up to try and drive Technotrousers out, and I think that's going to work out well for them. Technotrousers is going to be forced off that position by a rather good aggressive commander play here. There's nothing there to stop him. They're going to lose those mechs, and that's going to be a nasty loss for them because they put a lot of resources into that. And indeed, I think that would have been a better place to be building their mines, but they're building them all around these choke points. Everywhere.
The walls.
Little raid from Technotrousers though, slips some tanks around the back. They're picking up a couple of Fabbers.
Nice. That's right into their spawn location as well. They've done well off that. Well, they've stopped them in perhaps not the best place. I think
as long as they picked up the Fabric kills, I think they've done their job. That's what they needed. They got in there, picked up some Fabric kills, denied that turret placement. They've done all right. But we see the commander from Ponage coming in now, and he is driving Technotrousers out of this mech's position. They are not going to be holding that. It's looking very solid like Ponage.
Like I said, it's like I said, you do it first or you do it better. In this case, it looks like Team Ponage has done it better.
And Team Ponage indeed being very aggressive with commanders on both sides. We see that other commander advancing towards that centre mech spawn, clearly identifying that these mechs are going to be a key factor in this game. So,
well, that was not the best placed Uber cannon that I've seen, and that unfortunately that could have been placed better. There's enough units there that unless he puts those Uber cannons to a bit better use, he's going to take a little bit of unnecessary damage.
A couple of Fabbers there that are going to get killed, I think, unnecessarily. But the commander. Commander is, yeah, there you go. That was an unnecessary loss. They should have withdrawn. They've lost this position. They've got to bring up their own commander, or they're going to get overrun very quickly.
That commander, he's focusing on the walls. They're not manually targeting things. He needs to be manually targeting that dock, which is right next to him and shooting at him.
Oh dear, yeah. It doesn't. Technotrousers looking in some trouble here, though. Although the Ponages are not spending all of their income right now, they are taking these very important centre mech positions. They now own both of them. They don't own the crevasse yet, but they've got an air presence there. Again, denying Technotrousers those mechs. This is going to turn into a snowball very quickly.
With that said, though, that commander's down below 50% health, and he's still messing around there, shooting walls, not the units that are doing damage to him.
Oh, there's some poor Uber cannons going on here, and he's going to have to move fast because Team Technotrousers is moving in with their own commander.
Here comes their own commander.
In actual fact, tanks coming in from every direction now. That commander, that commander's going to be pulling right back, I fear.
So actually, on a strategic level, putting that commander forward was a very good idea, but without the actual tactical know-how to follow it up with a decent play of the commander's own, he's down to 20% health off of what should have been a fairly simple push-off, get-off-my-mechs field exercise. He's run straight into the walls.
Technotrousers, they're building walls, and they should keep advancing that commander. He needs to keep moving forward. They need to drive Ponage out of here completely, and he's got to support that tank push. He should not be building walls at this time. That is not where the defensive... and he pulled back. That tank push now being driven back by Ponage, and they're getting their own walls up. And that commander really costing Technotrousers there. Should have kept pushing, should have moved in, driven those tanks out completely.
This is a pelter now going up as well at the back here. This could be interesting. It's going to force Technotrousers' hand.
Yeah, Technotrousers are really going to regret not finishing off Ponage in that position. That commander is so low, he was never going to stay and fight. They could have pushed him out. They'd have had a substantial advantage in that fight, and they're letting him stay. And with these pelters up, Technotrousers are going to lose their position and just get driven back. And reinforcements coming in now, and that's going to put them in trouble because Ponage is closing in for the other mech's position now. Substantial lead in terms of economy, fairly substantial lead in terms of units as well. It's not looking good for Technotrousers.
Well, that said, what they have done is put that commander very firmly into snipe territory. So, in the long term, still stands to do them a fair few favours, this confrontation. But in the immediate term, really, this is a fight they should have finished.
Yeah, the problem is that by not owning that area, they don't own either of the major mech points between the bases, and that's really put them on the back foot economically. And unless they have a move to take them back very quickly, and right now they don't because they're trying to defend both of them, they're not going to get themselves back in the game. And I still don't understand why they put so much time and effort into these mines, which is not
anywhere useful.
Yeah, these mines, they basically got on their back door because they've got such a slow tank force, so they want to be able to focus just on the forward assaults and not have docks run around the back. But then they should have been more aggressive in taking the metal fields back there, because that's where they've got their mechs.
Snipe. Oh, no. I thought that was going to be...
It was down from, I think it was on 16%, now it's down to 9%. They don't have enough bombers on the field to pull off a snipe.
No, but I thought that... They should have built more bombers and then done it properly. Again, the fights that they should have finished, but they're not finishing.
Technotrousers is trying to make a little play here around the back of this metal expansion area. But yeah, they really should close in there. They should close in and do some economic damage. Rather than, I don't know where it is they're going, but they're just going to run into endless numbers of tanks.
There is so much float happening now for Team Ponage. They are floating over 100 metal per second at times.
Yeah, the commander is idle.
Inexcusable.
Yeah, this commander here at the expansion point is idle. He's finally grabbing some more metal. I prefer to be doing more factories and get another fab rat and grab that metal. But
metal is not their problem right now. Spending the metal that they've got is the problem that they're having.
They got their economy back under control. I think they had a couple of idle factories there. They've now got those active, but they're taking a fairly substantial armor lead now over Technotrousers, whose players looked a little unflexible in this game. I think a bad decision with the commander on that center points cost them, but even before then they were starting to look in trouble.
But you can now see the advantage of having a skitter in your army here. These mines being cleared, and now pings desperately going down for Ponage, as this is actually a very poorly defended area, minus those mines, which have now been completely eradicated by the fact that there were skitters in that army. All of this
nice. It's a nice win for them here. They're going to pick up some production and easy metal kills. In actual fact, another force coming through as well. So it's a good play by Technotrousers, realising that they need to start mixing this up a bit because they're losing the front lines.
This is going to pull back the economic advantage. If these two are successful, let's pull it back.
Oh, they're idling these guys in range of a turret. They need to pull those back. Don't fight the turret. It's just keep raiding around the edges here.
They're not going to do that. They've thrown that. But all of those mechs, that's brought it right back on target. And now it's Technotrousers who are floating horrifically.
But still, a nice play for them there. Really, there's a good flexible play, realising that they couldn't just keep throwing troops on that front line, and they smartly realised that, use the full 360 of the planet.
This is vulnerable. Right here, this is very vulnerable. All of that energy. At the moment they're floating it, but once they start chomping through these, that's quite a significant bit of play. The losing energy is a really horrible thing to do, because it's very hard to come back from.
I think right now, Pioneer is suffering because of this position. They have got a lot of troops there. For some reason, they're not taking the metal there very quickly, and they're just sitting those troops. I don't know why those troops are sitting there and not either defending the base or pushing on Technotrousers. And it's what's allowing Technotrousers the freedom to move their own armies around so easily. I mean, Technotrousers has a smaller army, but they're using it so much better.
This energy loss, I think, is going to really hurt Team Ponage. This one and the other energy loss in the other base. There we are. Here comes the energy stall, down to 50% production. Very, very good play from Technotrousers. They have managed to pull this right back. And look at the army right there, hitting them in the production as well. Production's being crippled, energy's being absolutely slaughtered. What a comeback.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm gobsmacked that they've managed to get into the game, get back into the game so well. And you see the float going on in terms of metal usage now for Ponage. They're losing so many factories. They're not spending that metal anymore. And Technotrousers really smartly moving this army, just skirting around the edges. These defences are doing nothing. These factories are in the way. And oh, what a blow that was. I mean, this is their initial spawn area, and most of the stuff they had there is now dead.
That is absolutely fantastic. But targeting that energy was such a good move. Look at that economy right now. You've taken them down to 50% production on everything. So all of that metal lead they've got, they're effectively active metal production is now down to about 150 because they're not able to use it. They do not have the energy to make use of all their metal. So that has completely screwed their economy for the next 2-3 minutes, which is just enough time.
Still got to be careful though, because Technotrans has still got the smaller army. They've got to wait for their they've got to wait for that production advantage they've got to kick in to really start to overwhelm ponies. So they can't afford to lose confrontations right now. They need to be careful, and ponies just finally pulled that army back. But Technotrans is very smartly now hitting them from every side.
Now these mines are going to start to come into play. If they do the pursuit, they've not pursued.
Now, I'm very impressed actually. They have been putting skitters in their armies as well, so these minefields have been absolutely useless. Technotrans has just thrown in some skitters, completely nullified the minefields. Something we weren't seeing from teams in the quarterfinals.
And we aren't actually seeing that from Team Ponage. Team Ponage do not have skitters in their armies. No,
I don't think they've run into any mines, so they're not aware. I think Team Technotrans has ran into some mines earlier on, so they are aware. I don't, but. On the other hand, if ponies were paying attention, they did see mines getting built, so they should know, but perhaps they know where the mines are.
Perhaps.
They haven't been going those routes
but
after
now,
all.
Both teams back on track with their energy and now both stalling on the metal. Both stalling pretty hard on the metal, actually. This game has gone from balance to balance, and we're now seeing... I wouldn't be able to call a winner at this point.
Well, I have to say, if Technotrousers play it right, I think the game is theirs to lose right now. I feel they just need to take advantage of that production, the efficiency advantage, the production advantage of really just build up an army. Just keep the pressure on Ponage. Ponage is just being run ragged. They're having to fight everywhere. They don't look in control of the game at all.
And actually, there's a lot of metal stands to be exposed here.
And we see now that Team Technotrousers is making another massive push.
That's going to be absolutely brutal. All that metal is going to go. You can see they've already abandoned that T2 factory in favour of building some defences to try and stave off this attack, build some energy to try and get their economy back.
I think this position is going to fall as well. Yep, Technotrousers is pushing right in here. This position is not going to hold. Technotrousers is going to overwhelm it. And this is one of the two significant metal sections around the middle of the map. They've stopped pushing though. They need to keep moving forward. Take out those fabrics. Don't let the turrets get built. We see them finally now catching up, moving on. Commander looking very isolated.
That commander is very, very exposed. Those tanks just need to start pushing in.
And smartly, Technotrousers aren't stopping there, making another push around the back here, getting more troops coming into, while Ponage is distracted on the front lines, bringing more troops in, playing really smart this game. They've just kept Ponage on the back foot everywhere, and Ponage
even though they've had such a disadvantage at one point in this game, they've come straight back from it.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some really smart strategic play. The Ponage went in, they took these metal areas, and then they just sort of settled. And they've allowed Technotrousers to once again dictate the flow of the game. And Ponage is just running all over the place. They had more troops, but their troops have always been in the wrong place. Just really smart play here from Technotrousers. And look, they're just rampaging through Ponage's base at this point, and the commander is chasing after them, and another force moving in, taking out more production. It's just sad, and we see tier 2 shellers coming in now from Technotrousers, and Ponage are just in retreat everywhere. Look at that economy. They are floating so badly because all of their factories are dying.
They've actually got very few factories left alive right now. They are floating 2/3 of the... They're idle factories. Why are these factories idle?
And there goes the GG. There is the GG's. Already they've called it a second game for Technotrousers in a game I did not expect them to take. Did not expect them to win that at all.
A fantastic game. I think that actually, I would go as far as to say that is the most exciting game that we've had so far. That was just... I actually sat forward of my chair. Like that, it was that intense. That's that was absolutely fabulous game.
What amazing play by Technotrousers. I mean, really well done to them. They took what looked like a losing position and just completely turned it around. They used the full map. They smartly, they didn't play it like a flat map. They realised it was fair. They attacked from every angle. Ponage put all their troops on what they thought was the front line, and then it turned out that wasn't the front line at all. And Technotrousers just ripped them apart. Absolutely fabulous play by them. I mean, we are. Let's go back and have a look at that, because the other semi-final game is still ongoing, and PA Gods have indeed picked up the first game against Jelly, although I hear it was actually quite a close game. But let's have a look at what happened.
Call out some timestamps so I can go over this with you.
Let's take it back then. We will start at the 2-minute mark, and we will move forward in double time.
Yeah, let's do that.
I say 2-minute mark. I've got it at 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Hey, that's fine. I'm not far you then. Let's go.
And double time go. Right, so just some early, the early choices. Again, I thought the Docks was going to be a better choice for Ponage, but once again, they also switched to tanks. So both teams playing pretty much the same as last time in terms of overall force composition.
More or less.
And again, Techno Trousers actually taking the initial the middle metal points early on, which I thought was going to secure them a good early lead, but somehow they managed to lose them because Ponage played very smart with their commanders, bringing them towards the forward lines there to take those positions straight back. That was some really smart play by Ponage, probably their best move in the game, really.
And then it all went downhill from there.
Yes. Oh, well, I think we saw with both teams really that they didn't push with commanders at the point where they should have. Although the commander from Ponage got very exposed at one point, just targeting the wrong things, for not firing Ubercans in the right places, got really low health. He's probably got Ponage on such a back foot. They got very defensive around him. Got very concerned, I think, about snipes happening. So perhaps their mindset wasn't quite right.
I think so. That commander just made some really silly mistakes. Poor placement of the Uber cannons. He was up there on the front line without any meat shield there to take the shots for him. Chased down.
We see the mines, at least one of the minefields from Techno Trousers did catch a few Docks as they tried to come around and raid. I'm not sure how effective those would have been, but I'm not sure how much I think those minefields were useful. But yeah, that big mistake by Techno Trousers though when they came up with their commander and not supporting their tank push. It really made this game a lot harder for them than it needed to be. It allowed all this pelter force to get built for Ponage to pull out troops. Well, on the other hand, it also acted as a filter for Ponage to bring all their forces in there, and then Techno Trousers said nuts to this, and then went off around the side. Smartly putting skitters amongst their forces, so the mine defences that Ponage had in place did absolutely nothing. Just immediately destroyed. And that's around about, what, the 11-minute mark, when suddenly the game just turned.
Yeah, the 11 minutes, that raid there, through the minefield, which, I mean, clearly the blue team thought that minefield was going to make it impossible for them to come and raid around the side there, but by putting skizzers in their forces, they just that unsettled them, because they were expecting them to be pushing through the front line, and then suddenly the tanks were somewhere else, and they were like, oh, all of our forces are down here.
Poor intelligence play, really.
It was. Radars would have saved them.
Yeah, if they'd seen that forces coming, they could have responded to that. I mean, it wasn't the most mobile of force. There was a lot of bolos, a lot of infernos. It was not a fast raiding force, but they completely failed to know that. And even when they did, they were very slow to respond. They left their troops in the pelter, in the little pelter bunker, and didn't bring them back. But I have to admire how Techno Trousers, they kept moving their they basically had two big armies they'd move around, and the problem was that Techno Trousers were moving lots of smaller forces, so Ponage could never have enough troops in one place, and the Techno Trousers would just come in, kill some stuff, Ponage would move to respond, and then Techno Trousers would be moving somewhere else on the map. It was very smart play.
And at the same time, I'm not sure of the necessity of 4 pelters Ponage built down there just to defend that little mech field there. I think that they over-invested in that one area, and that cost them dearly. They put too much into one place. And that just as you said, allows Techno Trousers just to go around the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Yeah,
they kept building pelters long after they'd secured that position, and they never pushed from there either. That was the problem. They built up a huge force there, and it never moved out. They never put any pressure on Techno Trousers as a result of the Rico advantage. Techno Trousers were acting like they were the power with more economy and more production, even though they weren't, because they were there attacking, putting the pressure on every opportunity, and Ponage, I don't think, ever made any aggressive plays other than trying to take those areas. They turned them into bases, and then they sat there. They never moved into Techno Trousers' main base. If I look at destroyed units, I don't think I see any damage in the original bases of Techno Trousers. Oh, they lost a few factions in the outskirts of one of them, but just a couple, and that was about it. Ponage played far too reactively. They needed to control the game once they had the economy in place.
It's a shame, because I said that they really, before 11 minutes, it was their game to lose, and then didn't react to what was a very strong set of play.